evening, everyone. Uh, it is Coach Cariso on the live. And yes, tonight's topic it's a beautiful one. It speaks about interpersonal relationships. So we live in a world where we need to have relationships. So how do we just go about kickstart those relationships, nourish them, sustain them? Let's move away from the conception to say, I don't need anyone. I don't need the world. I don't need friendships. I don't need relationships because we live in a world where we need to associate with people, learn from people, do business with people, sell to people. So that is about how we can just kickstart relationships, how we can just go about maintaining them, embracing them, because we cannot live this world without relationships. So it will be me and a business associate of mine. It's not going to be more of a monologue. And yes, also for you guys, it's more appreciated if you engage with us. Pop in the questions, compliments, comments, your inputs and all that. So let's make it more of an interactive session rather than a conversation between him and I. So please be engaged on this process, and yes, let's learn from each other. The whole process of every day is just to learn and learn and relearn, and that's how life works. So as I'm waiting for this guy, let's speak about relationships. I love the concept. So it can be relationship with the family, relatives, relationships from work, professional relationships, relationship from business associates. This can be your relationships in business networks. So it goes to many concepts, friendships, love life. So we live in a world where we are bound to connect with people, and we cannot shy away from the fact that we are so connected to them. So we need to know how can we just go about nourishing them, how can we just go about addressing them, confronting issues, support, challenge. So tonight is all about that, relationships in every area of life. So I'm waiting for this gentleman to make a request. Please bear with me. So yes, in most cases, which from, okay, there he goes. Yeah, goes. Bear with me as the request is still processing. So yes, let's make it more of an engagement and more than I'm gonna blog. Hello, coach.
Yeah, my coach. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm great, man. And you?
Uh, well, amazing, man. I'm working on my online courses. Ash. If it's a calling, it keeps calling. It's going to occupy you. So yes, that's what I've been working on. And me, in a nutshell, spiritually, I'm doing great with my God. I'm having this a strong relationship, which is always connected. Mentally, I've recovered from anxiety because when you have so much ambitions for yourself, you tend to be too hard on yourself on achieving those goals. So I've recovered from anxiety, and I love that. Emotionally, yes, it goes back to the concept of today, interpersonal relationships. So emotionally, I'm okay with my emotions with people. I still have that emotionally connection with people, which is a good thing. And physically, yes, after a good shower, I'm all well. How are you in a nutshell?
Oh, that sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Keep it there. Keep it there, coach.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
emotionally, I always check in with myself. I'm in the habit of self-regulating my emotions and to find out what am I feeling at a certain moment during the day. And that is a very powerful exercise. It alerts you to what's happening in you and how what's happening outside you is affecting how you're feeling. So I always emotions are messages. So I always ask myself, what does this emotion mean? It may be anger, it may be guilt, it may be an emotion of happiness,
Yeah.
it may be an emotion of you know I don't know, jealousy, but good jealousy or bad jealousy, any case. But
Subconscious.
that is what I'm in the habit
Yeah.
of. And emotionally, I'm good. Spiritually, I'm tops, no complaints there. And I always make time to reflect, to go into my inner world and withdraw and make sure that, I have time to, for example, meditate. It's a very important time. Of course, some of the days I'm totally preoccupied and I hate to miss meditation, but it's a very
Yeah.
powerful exercise of centering yourself, being self-aware, being mindful, and knowing who you are, being centered all the time, in
Yeah.
your authentic self. They say that medication will add days to your life, but meditation will add life to your days.
Kill it. Bless us.
Yeah. So basically that's that. And you come from a place of truth, from a place of bliss and
Yeah.
peace when you
Yeah.
come from that space. And everything is now peaceful and you know what's happening and you are aware. So it's a good space to be in. Yeah.
And I love the fact that before I got your approval for the request, when I was speaking all alone, I was like, the whole process of life is just to learn and relearn. So I like the fact that tonight we just unlearned and relearn something new about meditation, and I love that. So let's speak about this concept, interpersonal relationships. Interpersonal relationships. Uh, in most cases, people make this mistake to say, I'm all an introvert, I'm self-absorbed, so I don't care about making relationships. They tend to have a concept of extreme independence as well, to say I can live this life well alone. I don't need relationships. They embrace the fact that they're self-absorbed, whereas in life we need to have relationship. Can be love, life, friendships, professional relationships, associates. So we need those relationships, but then people have this misconception to say I can live this life without having relationships and it's okay, it's manageable. But then let us just give the clarity on this to say how important is it to have relationships. It can be in any space of life. How we can just
Mm,
see the impact and the importance of this concept, interpersonal relationships.
yeah. I'm yet to meet someone who's successful and truly happy in his life without having quality, meaningful relationships. I've never met such a person. It just does not exist, right?
See,
Because the quality of your relationships is directly proportional to the quality of your life. That's basically a fact.
I love
So,
it.
one of the areas that you want to master in your life is relationships, personally and professionally. Let's start by defining
Yeah,
what are relationships. So, the word relationship is twofold, meaning that there's relations and there's a ship, right? So, relationship is a ship
yeah,
of relations, right?
yeah,
So, that ship can either float or it can sink. We are on the sea.
yeah.
If we have relations, if we can relate to each other, me and you, that ship, that thing that we're building,
Yeah,
it will
yeah.
float, even in turbulent times when the storm comes, because we will know how to say it. We will know how to, use our structures.
Mm,
But if we cannot relate, we cannot find commonalities, or we cannot communicate through each other's values, then that ship will sink. There will not be a relationship. So basically, you can either have one of the two results in a relationship, a ship that will float or a ship that will sink, meaning that there are no relations. If there are relations and you are staying true to it, you strengthen those relations, and that is what you will have. It is a relationship.
mm. You spoke about relations, and I love that part so much. I love it so much. Uh, there's a concept that states that it's better to find your people so that you don't spend your whole time translating your soul. To say, if you're an entrepreneur, spend time with entrepreneurs. If you're into investments, spend time with people who are into investment and speak language of buying property deals, buying equity deals. If you're into trading, spend time with traders to discuss markets and all that. If you're into this kind of sports, spend time with those people because you don't have time to translate your soul. They can easily relate to you. So in most cases, we can just see and sense the fact that if we spend time with wrong people, we feel that we draining our energy. We keep taking this energy out and expending it to something that's not fruitful. You can spend time with people and just, in your mind to say that I had a bad day because they don't give you the kind of knowledge that you're looking for. Because in a nutshell, the kind of conversation that you always bring up, it says a lot about you. So it's going to be keep coming to you to say, I want to bring up this concept about entrepreneurship, but then you're spending time with people who are career oriented into a corporate space. Now they don't relate with your language or tone. Now you have to translate your soul. So when you speak about the relations, I like the fact that you can just easily tell that now these are the kind of people that I can associate myself with because they speak the same language as I speak. Now, the problem is one with that. When it comes to the love life relationships, it can be a case that people they want their love life to be in a way that they expect them to be. Someone can just find their love life being this person and they try to keep all their life uh, making sure that that person turn out to be the person that they say it's more ideal for them to fit in their personality. To say you find someone who's into this kind of concept in your love life, but then you take time to make sure that he lives the life that you prefer, not embracing. So in terms of spending time, it's a case of that with relationships of friends, it's draining your energy. But then with love life, people make this misconception to say, I need to change this person to live this life. Now, can we just balance the fact that with love life, we can just have to embrace our love life in this way to say, my partner is this way. But at the same time, how can we just know that we need to spend time with people who give us fire and energy and we don't have to translate our soul?
Mm, mm, mm. No, I absolutely concur with what you've been saying, Coach. You know, we cannot choose our family, but we can choose our friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Now, it is said that you are the average of the 5 people that you hang around with the most. So the
yeah,
five people is what you want to be very careful with because you want to select the best 5 of the people that you will spend your time, energy, and money with.
mm,
I see people here on Facebook having 5,000 friends in quotation marks, you know,
mm.
because that's an illusion, right? We should actually call them Facebook mates. It's impossible to have 5,000, friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, or maybe it depends on how you define a friend. Maybe that's how they define what a friend is.
yeah, yeah.
But you want to look at the type of people that you choose to be, we call that your inner circle. Those 5 people, they form part of your inner circle, meaning that they will know you to your core. You will know them to their core, and you will be
Mm.
involved in some sort of a transaction of exchanging knowledge, exchanging resources for the purpose of growth. That is the purpose of having an inner circle. So you want to
Love it.
choose 5 people, whether they're, you know, men or women, it doesn't matter. But statistics show that who you surround yourself with, they affect you because naturally we're like sponges. You know what happens when you put a sponge in water, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It will it will absorb the water, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So we are the sponge, and these 5 people or more people, they are the water that we are surrounded by.
Mm.
Now, imagine if you are surrounded by water that is polluted. you'll pollute yourself, you'll pollute your mind and heart. And consciously or unconsciously, whether you like it or not, they will affect you. I've met people who told me that, you know what, I hang around this guy who smokes, but I don't smoke and I will never smoke. I don't see myself smoking, right? So I say, okay, that's all good and well,
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean that you're going to absorb the entire person. You may be imitating the way he talks. You may be imitating the way he walks, right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Even though you don't smoke, there are some traits that you imitate in the person that reflects the fact that you are surrounded by that energy or by that person. You don't have to do exactly the same things, but the third person looking from outside can see resemblances between you two. So you want to surround yourself with people who are success conscious if you want to be successful. You want to surround yourself with entrepreneurs if you want to be an entrepreneur. You want to surround yourself with people who have authentic romantic relationships if you want to be in a long lasting romantic relationships, right? If I want to get married, there's no use taking advice from someone who is not married, for example, or who was married and the marriage didn't last. Maybe it was 3 months. But I'm thinking of a vision of a long term, of a lifetime commitment. So your
Yeah.
vision and the people that you surround yourself with, there should be a match there. There should not be a conflict between where you want to go and the people you surround yourself with. Your relationships must demonstrate where you want to go, right? Professionally, that's the space where you want to be careful, right? Because those are the people that determines your height. If you follow the masses, you cannot go beyond the masses, right? So that means the 5 people they determine the height or the extent of your success. So it's very, very important to be selfish when it comes to your choice of friends, the choice of your associates, right? And it's good to be selfish in that space because you're doing it for you. You know that consciously or unconsciously, there's 5 people or more people that I have in my life will definitely affect me for good or for bad.
And you spoke about relations, and I want to dwell on that part because it has so much broader meaning. With regards to people that we made up, it's a case that, let's say you're into entrepreneurship and you feel that I need to spend time with entrepreneurship minded people because that's the kind of conversation that I enjoy most now. Now, the most preferred way is just to say, let me just go to this event and I'm going to meet up with these people who are having the same interest as me. Because I also want to reflect on how you and I met. It was through a business summit. And
Mm,
in that regard, we don't tend to see the importance of the in-between times, as people mentioned, to say that relationships are formed in in-between times. Now, people have this conception to say, I have friendships or relationships already, then they just stay on a business summit to say, I'm going to do the business for the day, not knowing that during the in-between times, that's where relationships are made. Because I remember you and I, how we met, it was just before the business summit was kickstarted or was commencing. Now we just had to have a way of to conversate. But then look at us now. Now, how is it important to say, if you feel that I need to pursue this kind of journey in life, let me change my habits and go around these places to meet people who have the same interest as me. And one thing that I've mentioned, and I always mention because it's so relatable, to say we can spend time with people like this, but then as we grow, we then introspect to say this kind of people no longer serve us. The kind of conversation that we have now is purely different from the past. Now, people can just maybe be introduced to something new, and when they go back to the past relationships, it's like how butterflies and cocoons behave. When you start with a cocoon, you just behave with them, but then when you grow to be a butterfly, You then have new habits, new lifestyle. The moment you want to go back to being a Kakuna and taste those food, you feel it's not, giving life. Same goes with friendships, and in most cases, we can spend time with people, but the moment you're exposed to a different life or a new life, for you to go back, it's very challenging, because, as they say, if you want to feel that you want to change the circle of friends, you don't need it to say, I'm writing on Facebook, I'm cutting off people as from tomorrow. You just need to be in a growing stage and growing phase. Then they will eventually fall off. Now, how important is it to say, if you want to nurture new relationships, start with the habits and make sure that in between times at those places, you're going to find people who will be speaking the same tone as you.
Mm, mm. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
coach. I mean, we met at a business summit and we, engaged and we talked on level of success and,
yeah,
being
yeah.
success conscious. Now, a relationship is about growth and also life is progressive, right?
Yeah.
Life is progressive. Look at any tree in nature. It grows progressively. It never returns to its previous height. So once you change or you elevate your consciousness, you do not want to go back because you will
Yeah.
self-destruct and you will self-defeat, right? It's either you're going to elevate and stay there or go higher. That's how nature works,
Mm.
right? So it does not matter the friends that you lose in the process of your metamorphosis, right? Your change, because we are all in the process of change. You want to look at who are the people that I will now start meeting, right? Because it is said that if I save in the bank 10 rands, I will hang around with 10 years. If I save 1,000 rand, I will hang around with 1,000 years. If I save 1,000,000 rand, I will hang around with millionaires. If I save 1 billion, I'll
Mm.
hang around with billionaires. So it's all about the progressive nature of life that you just apply to your own life. And that is being in flow, in sync with life. That is how things must work. That is how things must play out. Right? So you do not want to go back to your previous state of consciousness. That will be the worst thing that you do, because you are
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
saying you're going to render all your efforts, your time, energy, and money useless for what you've done or achieved in that time frame.
Mm.
Now, proximity is power, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Proximity is power. It means if I want to start a business and be an entrepreneur, I must start reading books on entrepreneurship. I must start attending seminars on entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Not seminars on something else like spirituality or something that I'm not interested in at
Makes
that
sense.
moment in time in my life, right? So you want your actions to be aligned with your intentions. There should not be a conflict as
Yeah.
to what you want and what you intend to do at that particular time. So you mentioned that we met at a business summit. We were
Yeah.
there because the intention was, okay, we're here to present our businesses, we're here to grow, and that is what we did. And we found levels of relating to one another in that language or in
Yeah.
that atmosphere of entrepreneurship, right? And that's why you and I are here today. It started there, you know? Yeah, absolutely. So
Eh,
basically, the point that I made in the last 5 minutes is that as you elevate your consciousness, you want to keep it there or grow higher. You do not want to go back because you will self destruct, you will self defeat.
mm. I love it, and I feel like we need to also make this clarity. I know of a person that stated before to say, Um, I had friends in varsity, and when I had friends in varsity, um, maybe friends was misconcepted. Maybe they were not friends. But then she mentioned that I had friends in varsity, and every time we always met in varsities during break time to say we maybe have lunch over and all that. Now, when the pandemic hit, we took a pause in the studies and the classes. Now the classes were not happening. Now during the pandemic, inside those breaks when they were just parted ways, maybe one was in a different province, one was in a different province. They didn't have interpersonal relationships or communications because they felt that they had a common activity, which was attending classes together, spending lunchtime during those campus days. Now, the moment the pandemic hit and they parted ways, there were no communication in place because that one thing that always connected them was not there. Now, how can you just know that this is an associate and this is a friend? Because also in people who believe that friendships is about maybe partying together, when the partying is out, they cannot have those relationships or communication. Also in varsity, also in workspace, to say if that one activity that binds them goes out, there is no point of them connecting. Now, how can we just differentiate between an associate and a friend in that regard?
Okay. I like the word that you used, communication. Without communication, there's no relationship,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And many times we assume because of the perceptions that we come with into the relationship, right? Of what a friend means according to society, according to media, right? And therefore, I hang around to you for 5 minutes, and automatically in my mind, I label you as my friend. Whereas you, that's not what registers in your mind, right? So it comes down to communication that we have met today. Where are we going to take this? Is it going to be
yeah,
strictly professional? Are we going to be relating, professional in terms of business sense, business language, business
yeah,
adventures? Or are we going to be more than business associates, whereby we hang around, I come to your house, you come to my house, and we have, chilling sessions together, we get to know each other personally. Remember the inner circle. I become part of your inner circle. I'm not someone out there in the professional circle.
yeah.
So it comes down to communication. Do not assume things in your mind and, just take people as your friends and brag about them that, hey, Kaiso is my friend, Gabelo is my friend. Where's
Yeah.
Gabelo and Kaiso? They're not there. They're not in your radar. And not that they are bragging or anything or they're boasting. It's just that it was not communicated, you know, in a dialogue form to say, we can be more than that. It even goes to the opposite sex. We assume that, okay, this person loves me, just by gestures. Gestures can mean a million other things. It needs to be communicated that can we get this
I
thing
love it.
started? Can we start dating? Can I get to know you better? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
communicate. That's very important.
Mm. We tend to have these assumptions and they always turn out to end in a bad way. It also a case that you might meet someone maybe for a business summit or something like that, a seminar, and the next moment you get a call and you just ambush to say, let's go out for drinks. And it's something that has ambushed you to say, I never expected this because this person and I were just meeting with this kind of concept. Now, is it something that it's so easy to say and be an easy thing to communicate? Would it be an awkward scene to say, where do we stand now? What is our state at the moment? When you're speaking to a friend, does that bring a sense of awkwardness to say, should I just make this clarity to say, you are my friend, isn't it? Because in most cases, we tend to have people that we just assume by spending time with them more, they automatically turn out to be friends. Now, should it just go in that awkward scene to say, what do we stand now? What is our form of uh, title? Where do we stand, and how can we just title this?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Coach. You know, In a relationship, the moment you sense an awkward, feeling, and you ignore that awkward feeling of maybe asking a question, ignorance leads to more awkwardness in the relationship. Now,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm ignoring, attacking this topic or asking you this question, it doesn't mean it's going to disappear suddenly in my mind.
Yeah.
I'll be there driving, or before I sleep, I'm fantasizing about it. It's there. I cannot ignore it. You understand? So that means it will also affect the way I will relate to you from that perspective, because I have 1,000 questions stacked up now because I have not communicated that to you, and I'm assuming answers already from you, even though I don't have the
True,
facts.
true.
So I've stacked up things that are now, bundling up in my mind and creating realities that are not realities, that are illusions, but they affect my reality in the relationship in the way of me relating to you. So
Exactly.
ignorance will only create more awkwardness. You want to tackle it. It's not wrong to ask your friend, okay, where can we take this now? All right, we've been here 2 years, 3 years, right? Maybe let's go to the next level, right? If you want to get married, go ahead, right? Or if you want to stay on for another, communicate. Know where is the ship going. We said
Exactly.
relationship. We are both on this ship. We must both know, are we turning left here? Are we turning right? Or what's happening? Is it sinking or what's happening? So communication means we want to commune. Commune means you are sharing a moment and space simultaneously together, right? So that is what we want to do.
I love it. I love it. And I think it's also important that we redefine the concept of friendships and love life, because in most cases we have cut out people who always brought out the best in us, but then they brought it out in a challenging way, because people have this way of, if you don't want to support me, then why be my friend? But then you feel that this thing, I cannot support it unless I challenge it. And also with our love relationships, the moment when challenges get harder, challenges get greater and bigger, we then tend to, let's say, move on to the next one, only to find out also going forward we still come across challenges. Also going forward, we still come across challenges. Now, I think it's also important that we just bring out this light to people to say it's a case that we always find this support and challenge kind of relationships, because in most cases we have cut down people in the past to say they were supportive, they were challenging me rather. Also with our love life, most importantly, it's a case that always people, they tend to move from one love life to another because they have this illusion to say it might be lighter on the other side. Now we expect people to just uh, be all about supporting us, and if it's not that, we cut in down relationships. Also in the case that people embrace the fact that uh, they become maybe toxic in a way, and they say, if you cannot handle this kind of behavior, then let it be. I don't want to beg this relationship, or maybe sustain or nourish it, or maybe try to look at it. But then it's about, if you're in it, it's out, it's okay. Then people are embracing people going out in their lives, and it's a case that they lose meaningful relationships in the process.
Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I mean, I think when a relationship becomes toxic, you will know it. You will
Yeah,
feel it.
yeah.
No one will have to come and convince you or confirm for you, right? It's just that, the nature of the brain.
Yeah, yeah.
I said yesterday that the brain, if you give it benefits, it will always want that situation. It will want to expose you to that advantageous situation because you are taking advantage of it. And it also wants to protect you from things that are dangerous to you, to situations that are disadvantageous to you, right? So if initially you were in a relationship and there were benefits, more benefits than disadvantages, more advantages than disadvantages. And later, the relationship turns a bit toxic and poisoning.
Yeah.
Consciously and unconsciously, you are still stuck to the benefits that, okay, my man is still, buying me clothes, buying me data, but he's beating you, he's abusing you, right? And that's why we find many women who are stuck in abusive relationships, because what happens is that psychologically, you create psychological blocks. These are blocks that create, that inhibit you from exiting that relationship. A
Yeah.
block
Yeah.
is a
Yeah.
benefit. A block is something
Exactly.
that you see as an advantage, that he's still doing this for me, therefore I'm safe, or therefore I can stay, right? So if there's no person who's one-sided. All of us are two-sided. We have the good and the bad side, the supportive and the challenging side, right?
True.
So if I only see one side of who you are and do not embrace the other side, then I'm in fantasy, because it's like happy ever after kind of thing. And that does not exist. And sooner or later, the relationship will prove you correct, or will prove you wrong, actually, because you'll be in a fantasy, right? So when a relationship turns toxic, you will know. But it is your job to communicate, right? And make sure that you are on the same page to say, you know what, this ship is sinking. There are no more relations, or they are now weak as compared to where we started, whether it's a personal or professional relationship, right? I can take the decision to say, I want to end the relationship, but the other person doesn't want that. But they must give you reasons that are reasonable and valid to say, okay, I can still do this. How about you? Can you meet me halfway? If that is not the case, then let's call it quits, because the more you surround yourself with that energy, the more it affects you, and it
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
affects the other person, and the ship will sink. You want to be authentic all the time. You want to be true to yourself and not minimize yourself and say, you know what, I'll just stay
Exactly.
for the sake of something that is lower than you.
And when you speak about that, I think it's nostalgia in most cases, and it has been the greatest challenge. You feel that I currently it's no longer serving me, but you then reminisce. But we come a long way back. We come a long way back with this,
Yeah,
but then currently it's not serving you,
it's not.
and it goes back to
Yeah,
also how you say people keep mute about it, but we then have to go back to the conflict management resolutions to say the kind of avoidance solution, it's always a negative one. People might just say, I'll just keep shut about it and it's okay. They don't want to
yeah,
voice out their grievances. It can be maybe in the workspace, it can be with a colleague rather. They can just say that I don't want to voice out the relation because I think I'm okay, but deep down you know that it's not sitting well with you because you feel that you avoiding a certain problem, it's you playing safe. And a case that unconsciously you have resentment over that person because you're having this problem with them, but you don't voice it. You don't voice it out because people have
absolutely.
this fear to say if I voice it out, it might offend the other person. And the whole point of life is just to say I need to confront issues. But the question is, can we just confront it in a polite manner and just speak with it collaboratively? Because people have this concept to say, I'm okay with it, I'm just going to keep shut about it. But it creates resentment. And also, it's a case that maybe if you're too tolerant over someone, let's say maybe they're borrowing you money for quite a it's a friend, they borrowing you money for quite a while and they just not bring it back and just say, I don't want to raise the fact that you not repay my money back. You just say it's okay, I don't have any problem with it. But in a nutshell, going forward, it creates resentment and people are unconscious of it. Now, I think it's also important to also highlight the fact that also within relationship in the workspace or into friendships, we need to confront issues, and we need to confront them in a collaborative manner. Because when we just have a problem with someone and we just say, I'm keeping shut about it, it creates resentment in the long run. When you just have this one problem, everything just storms out.
Absolutely. And that's why there's so much gossip in the workplaces. People prefer to take your relationship to other people, right?
Yeah.
Instead of me talking to you, I talk to my colleague. How does that help the
Exactly.
relationship, right? So it's not going to work like that. Now, a relationship can take three different forms. Any
Yeah.
relationship can take three different forms, whether professionally or personally, right?
Yeah.
Number one, a relationship can be careless. You can be in a careless relationship where each one is doing their own thing,
Yeah.
right? No one is telling the other one what to do, what time to do something, whatever. So it can be a careless relationship. Each one is living according to their own values. Number two, you
Yeah.
can be in a careful relationship, like you'll be walking on eggshells. You're afraid to offend somebody else, right? It's like you are playing it safe all the time. And as you're playing safe, resentment is taking up in your heart. And
Yeah.
that is why we have bursts of anger, arguments that are heated, because I've piled up anger against you because I'm careful. I don't want to offend you, but it's impossible not to offend you. People are both sided, right? So these first two forms of relationships, they are toxic. You do not want to be in a careless relationship or
Careful.
a careful relationship, right? So you want to be in this third form of a relationship. You want to be in a caring relationship, right? What does that mean? It means that I find a way to communicate my values through your values, and you find a way to communicate your values through my values. That is a caring relationship, right? Because we care about each other's values, and that is how we relate. And as we relate on the level of our values, that is how we strengthen the relations, and therefore we strengthen the ship, and the ship continues to float. To the extent that we do that, that is how we maintain and achieve long-lasting relationships, because people are just structures of values. If I cannot find a way to communicate my values through your values, then that is where trouble starts. Okay? So, an example that I can give is that there's this couple, the husband is an entrepreneur. He's always at work. And in his mind, the way to show love to his family, to his wife and kids, is to make sure that they are financially stable. All their needs are met. So he is seldom at home, right?
Yeah.
And the wife, on the other hand, so his highest values is to be an entrepreneur, is to be out there and make money. Now, the wife, on the other hand, she values connection. She values quality time, sitting down and just conversing, hugging, smooching, and cuddling. And that hardly ever happens because the husband is seldom there. But on one occasion, the wife found a way to communicate her values through the values of the husband. How did she do that? While the husband was at home, she just sat down and the husband was seated as well. So she said, you know what? I really appreciate the work that you do for us and you spending time at work, making sure that we are financially secure. We all are protected financially. We all have everything that we need. you know. And this time that you are here at home, I truly appreciate it because I get the time to converse with you. I get the time to hug you, to kiss you, to be intimate with you, right? And that is the time when the value of the wife is met, right? So the husband sees that as an important time because he was first appreciated, then he can be able to come from a place of appreciation and express himself fully now to the wife according to the values of the wife.
I love it. I love it. You spoke
So
on.
obviously it takes a great deal of self-work and development to get there. It's not
Exactly.
often you see such
Exactly. Exactly.
relationships, but they are possible. It's about how willing, how dedicated are you to get there.
Exactly. You spoke on many concepts which I took with me, and yes, it was very, very insightful. You spoke about the concept of careful relationship to say we do not want to communicate our grievances because you might hurt someone, but uh, people have made this mistake in the past and they're still making it to say, I don't want to communicate these grievances because he might be offended and it might just compromise the relationship. Now, in a case, it then takes away the strength of the relationship to make it something that you mentioned before about action, working on actions. And when you speak about values, yeah, I'm a victim in the past. I remember back in the past, I would just say that let's go out on such a date, and I would love this some of an outdoor music. Maybe just playing a music at a lounge or maybe at something adventurous, anything that has to do interacting with people, those kind of setups. And she will not prefer that. She will just prefer maybe going to the movies. I, for one, I don't prefer going to the movies, and I'll just reject it. She would just reject that. Now, we never found common ground because I felt that she does not want to conform to what I believe it's more ideal, and I, for one, also did not want to conform what she sees as ideal. Now, it was the case that when she brings something like this, I'm not willing to go there. If I also bring something like this, she's not willing to come into that kind of setting. So it was the case that we never made a common solution. And when you speak about values, it is a concept to say, I know a couple who just knew that my wife, she's into giving. She loves giving. She loves the concept of gratitude. She's into these NGOs and this empowering organizations. And the husband, on the other hand, also had this gift or love of giving wealth to people. Now, what the husband did is that he always spent time and all his resources on devoting monetary value resources to the organization. Now, the woman, on the other hand, she loved gratitude in a sense of affection and spending time with those children at the orphanage and all that. Now, the husband loved giving in a monetary value. Now, when they two met, they made a common goal to say, I'll be donating and sponsoring the organization because I love the concept of giving wealth and giving money and redistributing money. And the women, on the other hand, love the concept of gratitude in a way of spending time with people, giving affection. Now, if we were just to live relationships into that way, to see what are the values of my partner, what are the values of me, how can we just find a common goal to say, also, it goes back to both of us are always happy. And it goes also into business to say, if you know that this one into finance, put him in the finance space. And if you know that this one into governance or not that leadership, put it into the maybe managing director space. Now, when everybody does what they love and they reach a common goal, it goes back to say, also in life, friendships, love life. Now, the problem is one, we do not want to understand how is this person different, and we don't want to say, let us just work on a common goal to say, I know that if I were to do this with my partner, you will be the happiest person alive. But then you feel that I'm not about this kind of setting, then you don't want to do it. She also does not prefer this kind of setting, doesn't want to do that. Also, going forward, it's a case that you won't work out because you don't seem to say, this is the values, this is my values. Now let's have a common goal on this.
That is a conversation that does not happen in many relationships, professionally and personally,
Yeah,
where you
exactly.
find a couple or associates sitting down doing what is called a cross-linking exercise, right? So we sit down, me and you are a coach, I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, right? You
Yeah,
have a degree in accounting, right?
yeah, yeah.
We are friends. We sit down and I have my pen and paper, you have your pen and paper, okay? On my paper, I write what is truly meaningful and important to you, right? We can start with the top 3 daily things that you do that are
Mm,
truly important to you, right?
mm.
It may be that you, for example, coaching is what you do.
Exactly, exactly.
On your paper, what are you going to write? You are going to write Gabelo is a teacher. He specializes in that, teacher of maths and science, right? Now, cross-linking is asking yourself, how is what you are doing helping me fulfill what is truly important to me, right? So,
Yeah, okay, let me just take this question. There is a
all
person
right.
who has leadership skills, I can say it, but he doesn't have courage or they don't have confidence in what they're doing. How can you guys assist the person? There's a person who has leadership skills, I can see it, but then he doesn't have the courage or they do not have confidence in what they are doing. Are you willing to tackle it now, or what you want to finish the statement that you're bringing, Coach?
Okay, let's just finish the thought there regarding the exercise, then we can handle it. Is that fine?
Yeah, yeah. I'll just keep
All
note
right.
of it.
Okay. All right. So as I was saying, the cross-linking exercise, you want to find out how is what the other person committed to helping you fulfill what is truly and most meaningful to you, right? Because you will see how what they do
Yeah,
benefits
yeah,
you, right?
yeah, yeah.
And you want to stack up as many benefits and points of service as much as possible. And that is where gratitude will come. That is where appreciation of the relationship will come and the value of the relationship. Just by doing that exercise, it will elevate the consciousness of the relationship. Because I come into the relationship with with my consciousness, you come with your own consciousness. But there's a third consciousness in the relationship, the consciousness of the relationship that we must safeguard, that we must build, right? So if we can elevate the consciousness of the relationship, we elevate the quality of the relationship.
Mm, I love it. I love it. I love it. It's one of those exercises that we tend to overlook, and they are very important.
Very
Let's let's
powerful.
let's see this question. It speaks about being so much involved in leadership, but then do not have the confidence. I think with leadership, it goes back to leadership styles. How can we just link the leadership styles with personalities to say, if you're this person who is just bold and dominant by nature, you can just use a form of autocratic leadership. If you're this person who loves interacting so much, you can just use a kind of leadership which has to do with maybe transformational. If you maybe into inspiration and all that, you can just use a charismatic leadership. So I feel that with regards to the leadership style, it goes back to the personality and also the kind of setting that plays. If let's say it's a working environment, then it's no use to say I want to just bring out this leadership in me. You can just use a democratic leadership because you feel that the people that you're working with, they are also well groomed and also well equipped and they have the skills and expertise. But then if you feel that the kind of people that I'm leading, they do not have those skills and expertise, you can just move from a different leadership style, maybe an autocratic one. If you feel that these people, they just need a lot from me, you can just use one that it has to do with maybe autocratic. If you feel that these people, they are more on the same level as me, you can just use maybe laissez-faire kind of leadership. So with regards to the leadership style, you can just introspect the personality that you have and also introspect also the kind of setting it has. So, Lingo, I'd say that the kind of answer, it should be applicable to the kind of situation, and it cannot be a fixed or structured one way of answering it. But then it goes back to how the kind of people that are being led are, and also the kind of personality that the person beholds or has. So I think you can also bring your input, coach, on this one.
Mm, mm. Yeah, thank you so much, Coach, and also for your input. Well, let's recall one thing. We were created to create.
I love it.
We were created to create. So that statement on its own says that every single one of us, we are natural leaders. Because you create
Yeah,
something, you're going to lead it. You must lead it. You are under divine obligation to lead that particular area.
exactly.
Now, the statement says here the person has leadership skills, but he lacks courage and confidence, right? I'm a teacher, I'm a personal mastery coach. I'm passionate about education and self development.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm a leader in this space, but I don't see myself leading a team of journalists in a media industry.
It makes sense.
You
It
understand?
makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the point that I'm trying to raise is that the context of leadership affects your confidence and the level of your courage. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you need to connect with the area of your leadership. My area is education. This person, Lingo, they must find the area where they connect their leadership with, right? Because we cannot be a jack of all trades, as I'm always saying, and a master of none.
Exactly.
You must be a master of at least one area in this lifetime, in this world. So find that area, Lingo, and that is where you will be inspired from within. You won't need external motivation to do that or to lead.
Mm. I love it. I love it. And it also goes back to the concept of self-confidence and all that. To say, in everything that goes to your specialty, it's so much easier to shine in that way. So let's say you want to go live, but then you lack courage. The only time that I can lack courage on going live, it's maybe speaking about a concept that I hardly know, maybe a concept about what is that one thing? Maybe Bitcoin. Imagine if the speaker used to go live and speak about Bitcoin. I hardly know about those things, so I'll be lacking courage. But then, if you know that I'm so good in this and my specialty in life, it goes back to this kind of space. It becomes so easy to say I can just naturally lead in this space, as you mentioned, to say we were all designed to lead. So, if those leadership qualities they correlate with what you good at, it's going to be so easy to lead. And at the same time, I'll also emphasize this point to say also introspect the setting at the environment, and also goes back to the personality of that person to know which kind of leadership can I use. But then the good part of leadership is it comes easily and naturally when something you're good at. But if it's something that you're not devoting your time on, it's going to be hard to lead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. The most important thing as well regarding relationship or in connection relationship with yourself. The expressions, the affection that you envision in another person showing you, show that to yourself. If I don't love myself, how do I expect you to love me? You know, if I don't value myself, how do I expect the world to value me? Get along with yourself and watch how easily the world gets along with you. Very easily, right? Have a relationship with yourself. Express love to self. Appreciate self. So that when you get into the relationship, you continue a party that you already started. You do not depend on somebody else to start that party for you. It's not something that is
Exactly.
weird, strange. It is not uncharted territories. It's something that you're familiar with. A relationship is not the place where you go to get. It's a place where you go to give, right? And you want to give because you have. You cannot give what you do not have.
I love it. I love it. Let's unlearn and relearn. People always had this misconception. I'm looking for a relationship because I want to be happy. I'm seeking happiness. I'm looking for one person who can just make me happy. But then the truth of life is just to be someone that makes you happy, not to seek someone that makes you happy. And it goes back to say we don't have meaningful and lasting relationships because people feel that there are people who are in relationships with, they're not feeling that void, they're not feeling that empty cup because they're just having this empty cup and it wants to be filled. But then imagine if you were to come into a relationship with both cups filled and the spark and energy and fire will just come out of those filled cups, because you can just tell from the little things on how you can just have a relationship with someone who does not have a personal life on its own. It's a case that they might just, burden you to say, what are you doing now? I need your attention right now, because they don't have any life apart from you. Now, when they just see you, they see you as that one person who can just fill that void, one person that can just bring that wealth to them, happiness to them, because they cannot have that in their own life. Now it's a case that they will just keep depending on you to say, what are you doing? I need your attention. Make me happy.
Yeah,
Not making me happy, because they cannot do them
absolutely.
themselves. But then the whole point of relationships, as you mentioned, and I'm taking this away from me, for this night, the point of relationship is not to get but to give. I took that away for tonight. I took that with me. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah. Is there another question?
Uh, not as yet. Not as
Oh,
yet. Mm.
all right. Yeah, I mean, let's engage with our audience. They must be free to, engage with us. It's a platform of learning. We're all learning here, we are all exchanging knowledge for the good of everyone, for the growth of everyone. So let's just engage. Let's just engage.
I feel that there was just one. They even say this at your seminars and your webinars and your engagements, to say, go into a webinar or engagement and take that one concept. If you don't get it, don't move away until you get it. But I feel from my side, I took, even if I was engaging with you, to say the point of relationships is not to get but to give. So I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Thank you, coach. Yeah, and that's it. That's it. In anything that you involve yourself in, you want to highlight the most important parts. If you read a book that is 500 pages long, obviously you will not remember every single word in every single page.
Exactly.
You want to focus on particular specific chapters. When you go to a seminar, it's not that you must remember every word of the speaker. You are there for small little nuggets that will help you to get to the next level. Basically, that's the point of the seminar. So don't beat yourself up and say, I forgot about that. Focus on what you took as a nugget, right? I mean, we've been talking for like what, an hour, and people are here, they remember here and there, here and there. It's about what
Yeah.
strikes the chord in your soul. So what strikes the chord in your soul is what is the thing that you must take with you after the session.
I love it. I love it. I love it. We don't have any questions as yet. So I don't know. What's your take on this? It's just a comment. It states absolutely the point of a relationship is not to get but to give. Spot on.
Of course. Because if we are to relate, it means like we are in a tennis match. I hit the ball over to your court, right? I'm giving you, and you are giving me back. And that's how we build the relationship. Mm, absolutely. Absolutely, coach.
I love it. I think you just wrap it up, and as we wrap it up, we can maybe have questions in the end. And yeah, we'll just wait for also the questions on the IGTV. What's the main reason why people want to get married? Let's dig deeper into this thing. Let's speak about this concept, because you cannot shy away from the fact that we're still about to face it. So we cannot just say we'll just look into the future. Let's just tackle it now. What's the main reason why people want to get married?
Well, every person will have their personal motives, and we are seeing more strange reasons as the, years go by of why people get married. It's totally shocking to hear some of these stories. So there can never be a right or wrong answer, and no one is there to judge you. If you are getting married, both of you, it means you've agreed to do it, and you therefore agreed on the terms and conditions of getting married. So there can never be a one size fits all, and you do not get married for love. That one just is not the reason to get married. Dr. Shifali, one of the world-class, therapists, says that, you don't want to get married for love, right? Because we have this fantasy that, it's a happy ever after, I'll always be happy, honeymoon, things will be all good. Yeah. Marriage is to magnify your human experience, to intensify your human experience, so that you enjoy fully, emotionally, your experiences in life. Because think of the richest man in the world. With all those riches, and if he's alone and he have nobody, or he has nobody to share them with, then those riches, they take a meaningless, form in his life. But if he's married or has a partner to share those riches with, it becomes magnified. The emotions become intensified because there's somebody sharing that emotional space with you, right? So it's about growth, right? Not that I'll get love there, or I'll be financially secure, or or I want citizenship in this country, as some of the reasons that we see. So it's about your personal reason, of course, but the most valid reason given by psychologists is that, you want to magnify your human experience with this particular person for your lifetime.
I love it. I love it. And it goes back to a point to say people have this misconception to say marriage changes people. People change because of marriage. People also believe that I can be in a relationship, but when I tap into marriage, I can just change instantly. In a nutshell, to say they don't want to say I'm going to work on a relationship, and if it goes into marriage, then I'm willing to say I've just known the person. They feel that I can just play this kind of behavior or display this kind of behavior. Then when I go into marriage, I'll just instantly change in a nutshell. So how can we just bring that clarity to say that going forward in terms of marriage and relationships, they have this synchronity to say they are correlated, to say that you cannot just I want to be in a relationship, and when you tap into marriage, you're just going to change by overnight, to say I can still have fun in a nutshell, when I go into marriage, I can just change rapidly. how can we just know speak about the synchronity between relationships and marriage? How can the two be in a synchronized manner? I also have another question, eh?
Oh, okay.
Why do most guys
What's
cheat in
the other question?
relationships? Why do most guys cheat in
Okay.
relationships? I think we dig deeper into love life than professional and friendship. So
Yeah,
let's
it's all the controversial questions, eh? All right. Yeah. They want to get us into trouble, but it's all right. Yeah. You were asking about the synchronicity between a relationship and marriage. Well, the misconception is that marriage will change me or marriage will change this relationship. Therefore, let's get married. That's an illusion. That's a fantasy, right? Marriage, right, achieves only one thing, you know, at least. It just changes your surname. It doesn't change you as a person,
yeah.
right? Yeah, it means I'm identified with this person now. I'm no longer Motlhwari, I'm Pahlele, right? So it does not change your inner being. It does not change your emotional structures, your mental faculties. The person that you were in the relationship, you will be the person that you will be that person in the marriage as well. So you must leave, totally destroy the illusion that the marriage changes you personality wise, or it will change your spouse or your partner. That does not happen because it's just a continuation of the relationship.
Exactly.
We just come to a point whereby we change surnames, we change maybe location, we start living together, we start having kids, things like that, right? So there's nothing transformational on a greater scale about that.
I love it. What's your take? We're having this controversial question.
Which one?
It's not even my area of specialty. I don't know how to go about it. Why do guys cheat in relationships?
Okay. Why do guys
what I
cheat?
can just state is that with regards to cheating, because I think we're digging deeper now and we just in it already. But with regards to cheating, it's a reflection of the person and not you. Now, people have this misconception to say they have guilt within themselves, to say, I made this person cheat, and they feel less of themselves. I think it's also important that we bring this clarity to say cheating, it has nothing to do with your character, but then it's a reflection of the person who's performing the deed. Now, people always said that guilt, to say, I'm having this guilt inside me, within me, to say, I am the cause of this. Now, they have resentment over themselves. Now, I think it's also fair enough that we brought the clarity out to say it's a reflection of one's behavior and not your personal doings.
Absolutely. That's why communication is important, right? So, in a nutshell, you've summed it up very well, coach. If I add anything on top of that, I will damage it. So let's leave it like that.
Yeah, but the context of tonight was just to unpack professional friendships and love life, but not to dig deep into love life. But yes, it still forms part of interpersonal relationships. So yes, it's easy for us to answer it, but not digging deeper into your love life relationships.
Now, in a relationship, if your intentions are genuine from the word go, if your intentions are true, right?
Yeah.
Even if that relationship ends, you never lose that person. That person will lose you.
I love it.
So it's about how genuine you are in the relationship. There are people who live double lives, who pretend, put on facades to please you for a moment in time and space. And when you're not there, there's somebody else that you will not even recognize, right? So you want to be with someone who's genuine, whether professionally or, personally, right? I always talk about being surrounded by authentic people, people who are true to themselves, people who are true to their values. I do not want someone in my inner circle who is blown by the wind. Today you're like this, tomorrow, I can't recognize you.
Yeah.
There needs to be a consistency in our level of relationship or a level of our relations, right? And the way we
Great.
relate to each
Agree.
other. Because then we can measure our progress, then we can measure our growth, and we can now reflect and we're here, now we are here. Can we move on to the next thing? So yeah.
I love it. Yeah. I think we can just wrap it up. Oh, we way on time, but it's still not an issue. We can still save it on the IGTV. And yes, when you speak about intentions, if they are genuine intentions, you would know. If they are not, you'll be confused. So that's it in a nutshell. And yes, we can still have questions on the IGTV through the comments, because I'm still intending it to save it on the IGTV. It's 130
Yeah.
minutes long, 1 hour 30 minutes long. So somewhere like that.
Yeah, do that. Do that, coach.
Now, thanks for the audience for coming through. Thanks to you, my guy, for always an interactive and insightful session. And yes, let's wrap it up. We'll just also kickstart another engagement on Thursday. And yes, let's make it more of an interactive session again on Thursday, 9 o'clock. Thanks so much.